Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. Let's Talk with the Saw right here on Superlative Radio. Sorry for the delay. A lot of stuff going on personally that's just kind of delayed us. But the episode we're going to talk about for What If is actually last week's, and it's What If Killmonger rescued Tony Stark. And then you're also going to be able to watch this week's episode, which is What If Thor was an only child. So that'll be...
They'll be both here for you to watch.
They'll be both here today at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the one we're going to talk about is What If Killmonger had rescued Tony Stark. And it was pretty good.
It was a good episode.
It was...
I was glad to see it wasn't like really a sad story again kind of thing. But
Well,
it was,
I thought it was.
It was sad in a way, but it wasn't like the rest of the other two prior. But...
Well,
you know.
Basically what it was is it starts off the same way as Iron Man does.
Yep.
Tony's in the Humvee. They get ambushed.
Yeah.
He leaps out behind the rock for protection. He sees his rocket land, and just before it explodes, Killmonger grabs it
Zooms in
and
there
throws
and,
it, and it blows up in the sky. And he rescues him. So Tony hires him to come work for him. And basically what Killmonger does is he shows that Obadiah had plotted to have Tony killed. So gets Obadiah out of the way, and he ends up working for Tony. And secretly what he's trying to do is weasel his way back into ruling Wakanda. So it kind of combines Black Panther's story with Iron Man.
That's what I was just going to say, but you were
And
talking.
and anyway, it basically is he ends up killing Tony. Killmonger ends up killing Tony.
Yep.
He kills Black Panther. He kills Rhodey. He kills let me think. He kills, who else does he kill in it? Well, I think that's it. Because I think Happy is still alive, and I know Pepper is at the end of it.
Yep.
And Shuri is, because Shuri meets with Pepper at the end to discuss
That's right.
dealing with him.
That's right, yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, I think pretty much.
So who's writing these things, giving such a weird twist on everything? Like, how does it come out of being? It's weird. It's just strange.
Well, What If comes from, like I said before, it comes from the comic book, right?
So
Like, it's all just different. What if this happened? It's just a different take on things.
It's weird.
Multiverse, man, multiverse.
Multiverse, yeah. There it is.
But yeah, no, it's been really good. In this episode, of course, it had everybody but Tony's, but whatchamacallit there, Robert Downey Jr. doing
the voice of
Tony's
Stark,
voice.
Yeah.
Like, everybody else did their voices.
Yeah, it was all original. Yeah.
Like,
Which is nice to see because it
and
gives
I
it
really wish they had gotten Robert Downey to reprise the role. I'm like, he has. So from what I've seen in all the What Ifs so far, he hasn't. Tom Holland hasn't. Chris Evans hasn't. Scarlett Johansson hasn't.
Well, there's a lot going on there, but
Brie Larson hasn't. So those are the 5 that haven't. But all the other stars of the MCU so far have done their
parts. Yeah.
their parts. Like, I don't understand why they're not getting them to do it. Like.
Well, Scarlett Johansson's having a bit of an issue right now. So
This was done. You got to remember, these were
That's
recorded.
true, too. You're
these
right.
were recorded a year and a half ago, long before they were
This
even
is true.
animated.
Yeah,
right?
that's
Like,
true.
You
You're
got to
right.
do all the recording before you do any of the animating. So,
that makes sense too. So I don't know. Hard to say.
but anyway, yeah. So they're the only ones that I've seen that haven't reprised the role, because Jeff Bridges was Obadiah.
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow was Pepper. Don Cheadle was Rhodey.
They're all there.
Anthony, or what's his Anthony B? Is it or Michael B. Jordan or whatever it is?
Yeah, that's right,
He was Killmonger. Chadwick Boseman was Black Panther. Like, literally everybody did their. So I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
he even did that before he passed.
Yeah.
So,
So I
yeah.
mean, I don't know. Like, it's crazy. All of this has been,
Yeah, well.
But anyway, great episode.
Yeah, good episode. A lot of fun.
It even in a way kind of combined Avengers: Age of Ultron, because they went to what's his face's ship in South Africa where he had all of the
Oh yeah. Right, they did. Yeah.
all the vibranium.
That's right. That's true.
'Cause
I
he
forgot,
kills
yeah.
him, too,
That's right. He kills
actually.
him too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Well, anyway, still a very good episode.
Yeah, it was really good. So instead of Iron Man armor, they end up building drones, which is funny because that's kind of from Iron Man 2 is the drone thing.
That's right. Yeah, it was sort of
like they kind of combine a
went
whole
this
bunch
way.
of
Kind of,
stuff.
yeah.
It was really kind of cool. But yeah, so I mean, I thought it was pretty interesting and pretty good.
What do you give this one on 10?
An 8.
Yeah,
I liked
okay.
it. I liked it a
That's
lot.
good.
It was good. It was really good to see everybody doing their voices and, just the way they even capture the look of them. Like,
It's amazing.
like they've got the looks
I
of
know,
them down pat, even though they're animated. The animators
They're
done
really,
a
really
phenomenal
talented.
job.
Yeah. They're talented. There's obvious.
And I mean, even the voice actors, like, given they didn't use Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland, the people who have done their voices do a really good job of mimicking them as best they can. Now, I know the guy, I believe it's the same guy that's doing Tony Stark's voice in What If. I believe he's been doing Tony Stark's voice in Marvel's animated stuff now for several years, because I watched a Marvel animated show on Disney Plus, and I'm trying to remember. Anyway, it was done by a Japanese anime studio because it was all in Japanese anime style, but it was he did the voice. I believe it's the same guy who did the voice of Tony in that, and he's done the voice in another couple Avengers animated features and stuff. So I think they've kind of kept him because he does a pretty good job of mimicking Robert Downey Jr.'s inflections and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
well, that's not an easy thing to do. So
I get not really. It's so much that he kind of sounds like Robert Downey Jr., but also he has Robert Downey's delivery on the lines a bit. The way he's got that inflection and delivery down. I think so. I think that's kind of why they're probably using him. But great job. All around great job on them. These guys have been doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it's really good. I agree.
I am really pleased with it. However, speaking of What If, before when we recorded a little bit and then had to start over. I mentioned that we need to catch up on some Marvel Legends stuff where they talk about the heroes in.
We'll have to get
shows,
back to that, but yeah.
I'll have to double check to see which ones we did, because I know we did Wanda, we did Vision.
Yeah.
I think we did Black Widow, but I don't know if we did Falcon, Winter Soldier, all the other characters that they've done in the What If series.
We'll get back to it and do it.
But we will do What If episodes on that. And there is a Star Wars 9-episode animated thing done by 9 different animated studios that have done different. It's kind of like a What If, I guess, is what it is.
Okay.
It's kind of like a What If, but it's Star Wars.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So we will have to look at that, and we'll do those two. We'll do one,
we could tag it
week
onto
or
some of the
whatever.
other stuff too, or whatever. But yeah.
We got a lot to do.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, Lower Decks.
Yeah, that's...
So we've got to find Lower Decks Season 2, because I know that's either started or starting very soon. So there's a lot of stuff coming, so don't worry.
Yeah, we'll be back into it.
Yeah, we'll be back into it.
Won't be long. Things will start to get back into a regular routine again. Just right now, things are a little off kilter, but we'll be back into it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So what did you think of the episode?
I liked it a lot. I did. I was, I basically say, which is true every week. It's just that it's too short, because I just get into it.
I know, and that's over.
And I'm just starting to roll. I'm just starting to, I'm comfortable. I'm ready to go. And that's done. Then it's done, and you're going, shit, man.
Like I said, I think they should have made them about an hour long. If they'd made them about 50, 55 minutes, I think that would have been great. It would have been
better, yeah. I agree.
Because you could have got a little bit more into them. I think it would have done them a little bit more on the story end of it. I mean, they're good. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, no, they're great.
But I think it would have been really good if they had made them just a tad bit longer, about another 20 minutes longer or whatever, and they would have been perfect.
Yeah. Because it's true. You just get into it and it's over. But that's okay. It's a great
But I mean,
series.
again, given that it's animated, of course, it takes a long time to animate a show.
That's not an easy task.
So
no, there's
of
a lot
course,
of work behind it.
We'd probably still be waiting on What If they had made them all an hour long, I guess. Because, it would be twice as long before they would have come out. So
a lot of work.
Now, did you see the preview for Hawkeye?
No, I did not.
Okay, that's up.
It's up?
The preview for it.
Oh,
is
the
up.
preview.
Yeah,
I'll have to check it. Okay.
You can watch
All right.
the preview for it. So, of course,
When's
Hawkeye
that?
comes out in November.
Okay.
And
We'll have to check
once
that too,
November
then.
hits, we'll be doing Hawkeye as
Yeah.
well. So I can't wait for that. It looks really good. But yeah, I
Well,
thought
you had talked about it 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
but-
I think the What If episode, what if Killmonger had rescued Tony Stark? That was really good. The way they kind of integrated it into.
They took a whole bunch of
and
different
took
things
the whole
together.
different turn and-
Yeah, I know.
And it's
was
just the
interesting.
way he worked his way into being in the he also made it so that he was also like Wakanda's hero at the same time. Like even though he had killed
Yeah, I know.
he had killed he'd killed Black Panther, like T'Challa, he'd killed him, and Shuri was right on to him.
Oh, yeah.
She picked up on it, so yeah.
Women are good that way.
Sure they are. They're good at getting onto a lot of things. I don't know if that's necessarily one of them.
That's a whole other topic, but
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah.
That's definitely not a PG topic.
No, definitely not. But anyway. No, it was a good
But anyway,
I enjoyed
yeah.
it thoroughly.
I did too. And just seeing everybody, the way they take these stories and they make these twists on them and say, well, this is what would happen if this had happened.
Yeah.
And it's just really kind of neat to see because,
Well, it's a whole other.
yeah. So,
know.
I mean, now I have heard that it's going to, now this will, we'll talk about this in the next episode because the next one's about Thor. But I have heard that the end of What If Season 1 is going to culminate in like an Avengers, in like an Avengers 1, right?
Okay.
So where the Avengers all come together, but it's going to be, or maybe it's going to be them coming together to fight, I thought, which I think I said after we talked about the zombie one, it's them fighting zombie Thanos.
You said that.
With the
Yeah.
gauntlet.
Yeah.
But it's going to be all, like, it won't be Captain America, it'll be Captain Carter. It'll be T'Challa, Star-Lord. Like it'll be all the different
Interesting.
heroes
Okay.
that have come about from the end of it, like Thor, Captain Marvel.
That's
will
what,
probably
2
be
weeks
there.
from now?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
only 2 episodes
That's right.
left now,
Yeah.
so
it's coming soon. So we'll see.
So what's going to happen is we're not going to get into anything else. We're just going to do What If until it's done. Then we'll, because by then I'll have figured out what episodes we've missed
Yeah.
on the other stuff,
And then we can start fresh with all that
we'll
stuff.
start that fresh with a season 5 of What If.
Yeah.
Or Let's Talk.
Let's
I
talk.
mean.
Yeah.
So we'll start it with a fresh season that way, and that way we'll do it as a catch up, a season of catch ups.
There you go.
That's what we'll
No
do.
Exactly.
Exactly, no mustard, just ketchups. Don't you just relish the thought?
I do. Yeah. I relish these conversations. Yeah.
Yeah. But that said, then when we catch up to all the regular stuff that's coming, that'll be good too. Because Star Trek Lower Decks, I'm looking forward to. Now,
I didn't.
you didn't really care for that.
I didn't get
last
into
year.
it. I didn't. I'm
but
going to give it
looking
another shot.
I'm looking forward to it. So
I'll give it another shot, but I can't promise you that I'll be also enthused.
well,
It just
is what it is.
That's right. It just didn't appeal to me.
Yeah. And which leads me to there's another He-Man and the Masters of the Universe show on Netflix, another new one, but I think it's more geared towards a younger crowd than the one that I watched and reviewed. So if you're looking for me to do that one, I'm probably not going to do a Let's Talk on it because I think it is definitely skewed to a younger viewer. Not that I probably won't watch it myself anyway, just because it's
watch
He-Man.
it and just mention it. You don't have to do a whole.
But I might, but I don't think I will, because I think it is geared more towards a younger crowd. So we'll know. I'll know better after I see it, but just to let you guys know. And I think for episodes, for stuff that we're going to be doing, that's it. Did you have a favorite part of this one?
No, I don't find I really have a favorite part of any of them, to be honest, because I'm just enjoying the whole aspect of watching sort of an alternate take on
the different movies.
Because if you know anything about me, even like with my radio and with my music stuff, I always love to hear like alternate takes of songs and alternate how things, because
See how people do it differently.
yeah, like even different artists do it a different way and different. Like
Yeah.
I've done shows like that on my radio shows, so I'm very much a fan of that kind of thing. So that's where I'm very much going. Wow, okay, and so
Yeah, it really is kind of neat. I like it too. I really think that the way that they're taking each episode and they're taking the movies and they're
Just skewing it a little.
They're
kinda,
combining some of them, like they did with this one, by
Yeah.
combining Black Panther, Iron Man 2, Avengers: Age of Ultron, and the first Iron Man all kind of into one.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they're doing they're doing different takes on them and how
Yeah.
they came about and why this went this way and why that went that way. And
Yeah.
it's just it's really quite something to see them doing, and it's very interesting.
Extremely interesting.
And if you guys out there have ever read the comic book from back in the day when they did What If, I mean, What If tended to be a comic that was very, when you look at the comic, I guess, it tended to be very much like the episodes that you said ended on a dark note.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
What If always used to seem to end that way with the main
What year was
hero. Oh, back in the early 80s.
Early 80s?
Early
Okay.
mid 80s, I believe.
Okay.
They used to do things where you would 90% of the time the hero at the end died or whatever. It was because it was a what if, and it always ended usually with the hero dying or a different person taking up the mantle of that hero instead of the original person. But they never really tended to do happy versions of What If, I guess would be a good way to put it. They always tended to be very...
They took a darker turn.
Darker turned ones,
Yeah.
you know. Now, of course, what's really brought the whole multiverse thing into Marvel really started back in... It started back in the early 2000s, I believe, or the late 90s. It's because it started in the comics with the Ultimates. And you'll notice if you watch any of the Marvel movies and you watch any of the Disney Plus shows and you watch any of What If, you'll notice a lot of cues and hints from the Marvel Ultimates. So what happened is, with that, just to give you a little bit of backstory, and this will help you for understanding What If as a show, it was, the Ultimates was what they had done, and they had tried it once earlier before with a series they called Heroes Reborn, where they had taken
I've heard of that.
They'd taken the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and that was what they started with. And what they did is they just started them all over with new number ones, and they retold their origins in a more modern fashion for the 90s. But it didn't go anywhere. It only went like maybe half dozen issues or so each, and then it ended. But Marvel Ultimates, what they did is they took that idea and they restarted the Marvel Universe.
All over again.
But they did it... they did it without touching the original Marvel Universe that had been going since the 60s or whatever. So what they did is they just started over, and it was a more adult-themed comic. It was grittier. It was more violent. Like, they killed a lot of characters in it. Eventually, the Marvel Ultimates ended with them destroying the universe. And the reason is
Wow.
because Joe Quesada, who took over as the editor-in-chief at Marvel, he got annoyed that the Ultimates universe was selling better than the core Marvel universe
Oh,
was.
Jesus. Okay.
And
So he put the kibosh on it.
He put the kibosh on it. He made them ruin it. He made, I believe it was... I think it was J. Michael Straczynski, who, if you know anything about, he's been
I've
writing
heard the
shit.
name,
Well,
but
he
yeah.
wrote Babylon 5, created
That's
Babylon
where
5.
I know from. That's right. Okay, yeah.
He
Okay,
was
got it.
involved in the original He-Man cartoon. He'd been involved in a lot of stuff over the years, but Babylon 5 is known
That's
as
where
his
I know him from.
creation.
Yep.
I believe he had written part of it. He was one of the writers involved. And basically what happened is Joe Quesada and his uppity dickhead nature decided he didn't like the Ultimates because it was selling better. So he started making them kill characters. Now, if you've noticed anything from the Spider-Man stuff, they talk about Miles Morales, the black kid
Yeah,
who's Spider-Man. He came from the Ultimates universe.
Okay.
What happened is in the Marvel Ultimates universe, they killed Peter Parker. They killed
Really?
him.
Okay.
He got shot and killed, I believe, fighting Kingpin or Doc Ock. he got killed, and Miles Morales
Picked up the gauntlet.
picked up his, because he managed to get those powers, the Spider-Man powers, and he picked up the mantle of Spider-Man. So when we go back and we look at Spider-Man Homecoming, okay, when he's you remember when he's interrogating the black guy in the
Yep.
parking garage,
Yep.
and he
That's right. Yeah.
shoots his webs and he sticks a guy's hand to it. Well, that black guy is Miles Morales' uncle.
Okay.
Okay, that's who he actually is. He's that kid's uncle in the MCU, right? So, you know, they've
I never knew that.
they've
Okay.
kind of hinted, yeah. They've kind of I believe he becomes a villain known as I think it's the Prowler, or whatever. And anyway, and Miles Morales is this guy's nephew. And he talks about, I have a nephew in this neighborhood and blah, blah, blah. I want things to be good
That's
for
right.
him.
Yeah, but I never put
Well,
that
the
together.
nephew is Miles Morales.
See, I never put
Okay?
that together. I never knew that.
So, well, of course, you may not.
That's
You're
right.
not the comic geek
No.
thing. But, so that's kind of tied that in. And of course, with Spider-Man No Way Home, we know that they're introducing the multiverse in that.
Right.
Through having Doctor Strange being in it. And, of course, having Tobey Maguire and Andrew
all the
Garfield,
different things going. That's right.
right? So now
Miles Morales is going to be in it?
I doubt it. I doubt
Okay.
it. But when you go back to the early 2000s, that's where Marvel really started to focus on this whole multiverse, because they had two main Marvel universes going at the same time. They had the original one,
Right.
and then they had the Ultimates one. Now, since then, they've continued to break and do different, and they you'll probably notice in Spider-Man Far From Home, Mysterio, when he first meets
This way.
Mysterio, with with Nick Fury and Mariah Hill, who actually are Skrulls, but in that Shield base.
Yeah.
where he meets-
Okay.
He says, "I'm from Earth 6,
right.
blah blah blah, whatever." Right.
That's again-
And they said, "You're saying the multiverse is real," and they start talking about the multiverse. Well, when they start bringing in Earth this number, Earth this number, Earth that number, it's because in the multiverse, the way they do it is, so if they say that you're from Earth 1312, well, that means they know that there's 1312 different universes where there's an Earth.
Wow.
Right? So that's how they've done it. And they did the same thing in DC, but DC did the multiverse stuff years ago. Okay? And one of the big things you probably remember from Big Bang Theory, where they talk about Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
That's a DC storyline where all their multiverse stuff came, and it involved all the different Earths. And
Okay.
like Power Girl and Huntress are from different. Power Girl is really Supergirl, but she's from an alternate Earth. So when she came to the main Earth where Superman and Supergirl were, instead of calling herself Supergirl because there was already Supergirl, she called herself Power Girl. And Huntress is a hero from an alternate DC universe where she's the daughter of Batman and Catwoman. So, yeah.
Makes my head hurt.
I know, yeah, right? So that's, and of course she came to the main, and that's what they've done, is they've done these multiverse theories, and all this stuff. Comics have been doing it for much longer than scientists have been talking about it.
So this is where What If comes in.
So this is
it's
how What If-
basically the Ultimates with
it's not the Ultimates. It's
No,
just
no,
that
but
it's that
it's-
idea, right?
yeah.
So each What If is an alternate universe. It's a different Earth. So it's how they're going to explain in Doctor Strange, when it's the Multiverse of Madness, where they're explaining all these different multiverses and all these different universes. It's going to explain all of those different things. So that's how What If is going to connect to that. And
Wow.
yeah. So this particular What If that we watched, which is what if Killmonger had rescued Tony
Yeah.
Stark, it's just another Earth where, instead of Tony Stark becoming Iron Man, Killmonger rescues him. And then this happens, and it takes that story in a whole different direction. And that's where it's going to be for each one. Each one, like the zombie one is, okay, well, it was this Earth, everybody became zombies. The one with Doctor Strange, you notice his multiverse ended with him being trapped in his own universe that was as big as
right,
him.
yeah.
Right? Like each one is going to be its own different thing.
So we could have the same thing going on here. There could be a multiverse where I'm rich and good looking.
In no universe is Eddie rich and good looking. Actually, I'll give you maybe rich, but definitely not good looking. And I can assure you, the math would suggest in some of them that I'm a clown made of candy, but in none of them am I dancing.
Yeah, exactly. Big Bang again, yeah.
But that's the idea. So that's where it all leads to. And so when you watch these different episodes of What If, you got to remember they're all just a different multiverse. So now
that actually gives a whole other perspective on it. So
it does.
That's good.
And that kind of explains Marvel's history of it. And
thanks for that. That makes it easier.
When I get into doing the 0 Hour as a weekly radio show, I'm going to do a whole episode, pardon me, on the Marvel Ultimates universe and how it came about through the multiverse theory.
Okay, that'll be interesting to hear.
Marvel,
that'll be good. I
I'll
look forward to that. That's good.
But that's the idea, and that's how they're connecting it to the comics, and of course it's connected to, of course, the old What If comic, which is really, if you want to think about it, is really Marvel's original start on the multiverse. But they weren't into calling it the multiverse back then because they just called it what if we'd done this instead? They didn't really think of it as this is a completely alternate Earth.
Wow.
So that didn't really come about until Heroes Reborn, and then
so now it's just basically where it's all sort of it's culminating together to.
Yeah, so it's really kind of cool.
Wow,
so when you're watching these, just remember that's how, and it's all going to connect because, again, everything they've done in Phase 4 so far, with the exception of Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Black Widow, because those two stories are closer tied together than, they're more grounded in reality than WandaVision was, or Loki, or of course the next Spider-Man is going to be.
Well, that's going to have everything in it, so
right.
Yeah.
So what they're building and What If, what they're doing is they're building the multiverse, and what I think is going to happen.
It's like Jenga; they're putting all these pieces together.
I think what we're going to see is when What If culminates, it's going to culminate in, from what I have heard, the episode is going to be where they fight zombie Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet. And it's going to be all the heroes who survived from each one. Like, I believe it'll have Spider-Man from the zombie one. I think he's the only one that's going to survive that.
Okay.
That because they're going to go to Wakanda, right? And
right.
of course
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
With
exactly.
Thanos,
Same
right?
thing. Right. Yeah.
Well, I think he's going to be the only one, but he's going to be Spider Supreme.
Okay.
Is what he's going to be, because what that is. Of course, Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Where
That's right.
Spider-Man has his cloak, so I think he's going to be called Spider Supreme.
Holy shit! This is going to be weird,
right? And it's going to, of course, be T'Challa, Star-Lord. It's going to be.
Oh my God! Okay.
It's going to be Captain Carter. Like, they're all going to come together as their own Avengers group to fight. That's what I think is going to happen, and I think that's what I have heard. So that's something to look forward to with the 9th episode coming up, right?
Okay.
And that's how they're going to culminate all those universes together. And then in some fashion, they're going to be somehow they're going to come about, and it's going to affect Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because there is a rumor that Captain Carter is going to be in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
So there's a character that's going to cross over from the animated side of the MCU into the live action side, instead of vice versa, right? Like, it's all gonna. So I believe, like, what they're doing with Phase 4 is they are doing the whole multiverse theory, and at the same time, they hinted at it in Loki when they met He Who Remains.
That's right. Yeah.
And He Who Remains is actually just another. Is just one of the many multiverse versions of Kang the Conqueror. And like I told you before, Kang comes from the year 3000.
That's what you said, yeah.
Right? Now, of course, the heavy rumor is that the Fantastic Four is going to be the last movie in Phase 4, which is kind of cool. Phase 4 culminating with the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
But it's going to have Kang the Conqueror as the villain there. And that will then lead into the next Avengers movie, supposedly, where Kang will be the villain they have to come up against.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's how that's going to go. Now, I could be wrong.
No.
But I'm going to bet I would,
Dollars to donuts. Yeah.
I would probably put money, and I would wager safely that I'm right. Like,
Okay.
I don't usually bet if I'm not. I don't think it's a for sure win for me. So, I would actually wager some cash on that. That I think.
Interesting.
So if anybody wants to take that bet, you let me know.
Yeah.
Right
down below.
I accept PayPal and e-transfers, certified checks by mail.
You can bounce them all the way to the bank.
Yeah. But no, I would bet heavily on the fact that it's going to be Kang the Conqueror. That's where Phase 4 is going to culminate, is with that. And
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, I think that's how it's going to
I
happen.
have to see where that goes, but yeah, that sounds like it could be an interesting.
And this episode really is just another one of those what if things that focuses on it.
But you can see then now how how you're building, like I said, the Jenga blocks to get to where. That's cool. That's interesting. Now you see that gave me a whole other perspective. So thank you.
Exactly.
That's
and I
good.
think that's really kind of an interesting way. It helps. And for any of you out there that have been watching What If and don't quite understand the multiverse theory as it applies to Marvel,
that just put it
I
together.
hope that helps.
Yeah. Well, put it together
but
for me. So
like when I do get to doing 0 Hour as a syndicated weekly show, which probably will be in October.
yeah, it won't be long. So
I imagine. We will then be focusing one of the episodes on that. So
Yeah.
you'll get to hear if you're, and I'll let you guys know so you can listen to it and check it out, and what radio stations it'll be on and stuff.
and if not, you can always get it on the website. So
Yeah.
if you're
So
not in
it'll
the
be cool.
area, sorry, but yeah.
Yeah, so, that's, I thought the episode was great. Again, I thought it was really neat how Killmonger managed to play everybody into
was a good
thinking he
episode.
was this good guy who did this and did that or whatever, and he still got away with all the crap he got away with.
Yeah.
But Shuri picked up on it. Her and Pepper and Happy picked up on that
On
he
the
was
whole
not.
situation, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if they do any more with that, or if that's just where they leave it. Who knows?
They could always play a little more on it.
Yeah, you never know. So,
But anyway, there you go.
that is the 6th episode of What If, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yep. So don't forget to comment below, by the way. So
Yeah, like, share, subscribe.
Yep.
Comment below. All of our episodes, come up on our Let's Talk YouTube channel as well as our Superlative Radio channel, and they're on our website. So, there's lots of ways for you to watch
all
and
there.
not miss it.
Yep.
So check it all out. In the meantime, stay tuned for another episode of this today. We will have another one up for you. And that said, we will catch you guys on that episode.
Yep. And in the meantime, stay healthy.